They signed away control of their own survival in exchange for short-term relief. It looked like discipline. It looked like efficiency. It quietly removed their ability to compete at the exact moment competition was about to change forever. They handed their online future to a partner that would eventually become the default destination for everything they sold. It solved a problem they didn't want to solve themselves. It also ensured they would never own the solution. Right now, somewhere in the world, a board of directors is approving a decision that looks perfectly rational. The numbers check out. The risks seem manageable. The analysts agree. 10 years later, that decision is cited as the moment everything began to unravel. This is the autopsy of one of those decisions. By the early 2000s, Toys R Us was not just a retailer. It was the category. Hundreds of stores, billions in revenue, and a brand synonymous with childhood. For decades, parents did not search for toys. They went to Toys R Us. But the business carried a growing problem. Its stores were expensive to operate. Its inventory was complex. And its early attempts at e-commerce had failed to meet expectations. Online retail was still uncertain, and building it internally would require time, capital, and a different kind of operational discipline. So they chose not to build it. Instead, in 2000, Toys R Us signed a deal with Amazon. Amazon would handle the website, the logistics, and the technology. Toys R Us would provide the products. It was framed as a partnership. In reality, it was an outsourcing of the future. At the time, the decision made sense. Amazon was not yet dominant. It was still proving its model. Partnering allowed Toys R Us to participate in e-commerce without carrying the full cost or risk. The company could focus on what it believed it did best: retail presence, brand trust, and scale. But the structure of the deal created a dependency. Amazon controlled the customer experience. Amazon controlled the data. Amazon controlled the infrastructure that would define how toys were discovered and purchased online. Toys R Us became a supplier inside a system it did not own. As e-commerce began to accelerate, that distinction started to matter. Customers were not forming loyalty to Toys R Us online. They were forming loyalty to Amazon. The search behavior, the checkout experience, the convenience, none of it belonged to Toys R Us. The company was present, but it was not in control. When Toys R Us eventually tried to regain independence and build its own online platform, it was already behind. The capabilities it had outsourced had become core to competition. What once looked like a shortcut had become a structural weakness. At the same time, another decision compounded the problem. In 2005, a private equity consortium acquired Toys R Us in a leveraged buyout. The deal added billions of dollars in debt to the company's balance sheet. That debt required constant servicing, reducing flexibility at the exact moment retail was undergoing fundamental change. Stores needed reinvestment. Technology needed development. Logistics needed modernization. But the capital was constrained by the financial structure that had been put in place. The company was now caught between two forces it could not fully control. It did not own its online future, and it could not easily invest to build one. As Amazon expanded and competitors adapted, Toys R Us remained tied to a model built for a different era. Its stores became less competitive. Its pricing became less flexible. Its customer experience became less relevant. The decline was not sudden. It was gradual. Each year, the gap widened. Each year, the decisions made earlier became harder to reverse. By the time Toys R Us filed for bankruptcy in 2017, the outcome felt inevitable. The partnership that once reduced risk had transferred control. The financial structure that once promised efficiency had reduced adaptability. The company that once defined the category could no longer compete in the system that replaced it. What company today is making the exact same mistake, clinging to the past while a competitor builds the future?